Raider Nation, what's going on? You're watching the Raiders Report, and today's mailbag is presented by Manscape. Head on over to manscape.com. Use code Raiders for 20% off, and you're going to be able to get free shipping on the best male grooming products on the market. To make sure that your Nathan Peterman looks great, and to make sure you're always staying up to date, go to manscape.com, code Raiders. Go to Wrong Way. What up, Wrong Way? What teams are set to flop this season? To me, Arizona Cardinals are going to be bad. The Rams are going to be a team that's going to be pretty bad. I know Harry's really excited about the Bears. I'm not 100% sold on Justin Fields. Like, that team still does scare me quite a bit. And then the Tampa Bay Buccaneers would be the teams I'd say, watch out for them being pretty bad this upcoming season. Let's go to John. Is that my jersey? Everybody spam John Scheffler in the chat. One of the GOATs from our draft show, man. John, huge shout out to you, my guy. And if you want your Raiders jersey here on the Raiders Report, remember, $500 Venmo at MitchellRen365. And we have a hell of a collection added up. You just can't get the same number twice. If you want one, hey, tune into the Raiders Report. Let's get it started. John, huge shout out to you, my guy. Let's keep it rolling here on the Raiders Report with some of these questions rolling in here. Drake, will Tyler Hall start for the Raiders this year? There's a chance. Like, I would say right now it's 2 just-win babies. If they're confident that Nate Hobbs can play on the outside, he's going to go and he's going to play on the outside. What's going to be interesting is Duke Shelley and then David Long Jr. is going to be the really intriguing thing in terms of how they end up battling it out. So I'll say that there's a chance, no doubt about it. Now remember, if you want to stay up to date on everything going on around the Las Vegas Raiders, all you got to do is hit that subscribe button, turn on those notifications, plus it's 100% for free. Chef, tell people why they should subscribe to the Raiders Report. He just sent in a $100 super chat coming in from John Scheffler. Bang! That looks good on you, Mithay. I think autocorrect got the best of you, John. Appreciate it, though, man. Appreciate all the support that you have, and I'll do what I need to do after the mailbag. Tristan, what's up, man? Where do you think we'll place in the division with our current roster? I would say that right now the Raiders aren't better than the Chargers. They're not better than the Chiefs, so it comes down to the Broncos. Like, I'd say, obviously, anything can change, right? Injuries can happen. Players can play a certain way. I will continue to hope that the Raiders are better than Denver this season, but I'd say it's a battle for third right now. Let's go to Jesse. Rate our wide receiver core. Are you super confident or what? If I'm basing it on just the receiver core right now for the Raiders, and that does include Hunter Renfrow, I mean, it's got to be one of the better wide receiver units in the NFL. I'd probably say 8, maybe 9 out of 10, and that's because I'm very high on some other players. If it's without Renfrow, I do think that drops down to a 6, but then again, to me, you're going to see a lot more 2 tight end sets. You're going to see a lot of Michael Mayer, Austin Hooper out on the field, which is just another reason why I'm confident that they're going to move on from Renfrow in the end. To make sure that your girl doesn't move on from you, make sure that your downstairs is always looking great. Huge shout out to today's sponsor, Manscaped. Your balls will thank you, and she will too. Make sure you use promo code Raiders for 20% off and free shipping on all the best male grooming products. Whether it's the Lawnmower 4.0 that helps you get into those hard-to-reach spots. Maybe you want to tackle your beard game. I've really tried to elevate my beard game where I'd say like 2 years ago, I wouldn't try to line it up as well. I wouldn't, comb it. I've realized that making sure that your beard is conditioned, it's combed right, very, very important. Manscaped has helped me do that. What if you're talking to somebody and you see a few nose hairs sticking out? I'll tell you this right now. If we have a conversation and there's nose hair sticking out of your nose, I don't knows what you're talking about because I'm not going to listen to you. I'm just going to see the fact that you need to get your hands on the weed whacker, and you can get all of those awesome male grooming products out there at manscaped.com. Code Raiders, 20% off and free shipping. If you don't know it by now, you're just not in. I mean, you got to try to get some of these products, man. I use them religiously, which, hey, maybe is the reason why Alex ended up saying C. Let's go to Paul. How many wins this season? I will continue to say the over-under for me, if I was Vegas, would be 7.5 for viewers here on this show because they always go a little bit higher. I'll say 8.5 wins. So over, under that amount. I just think with Jimmy Garoppolo, with the way that this Raiders team is constructed, they're not going to blow as many leads, knock on wood. But I'd say 8 wins is probably where I'm going to go with this Raiders team. Let's go to Frankie. Better quarterback in 2023, Jimmy Garoppolo or Derek Carr? I mean, based on numbers, I'll probably go with Carr. But if you were to tell me who's going to be the better quarterback in the McDaniel system, I'm gonna go with Jimmy Garoppolo because Derek was just not very good last season. On top of that, though, statistically, if the Saints have a better defense, then Carr's not going to throw nearly as much. So if you look at it from McDaniel's standpoint alone, Jimmy Garoppolo is going to have the better season. If it's who's the more talented quarterback, I'll go with Derek Carr. How about this, though? You guys can let me know. Who's the better QB? If you think it is Derek Carr, type DC. If you think it's Jimmy Garoppolo, then please type JG. It depends how the question is phrased. Just better quarterback in 2023? Carr. Better quarterback in the McDaniel system? I'm going to bet my money on Jimmy Garoppolo. Let's go to Robert. Consider the money impact of trading Renfrow and dumping Chandler. Wilson at end. Take money to put someone on Wilson's left, Van Noy, Peters, or others. You're not going to dump Chandler Jones. They already restructured his contract, so Raider fans can just get the idea of moving on from Chandler Jones after the season. Crumble it up, write it on a piece of paper, crumble up, throw it out the window. Chandler Jones is going to be a Raider this upcoming year. Moving on from Renfrow saves you about 11.6, and you can use that 11.6 to go out and get a Kyle Van Noy, a Marcus Peters. Like, you can do all of that. But I still think that if the Raiders were smart, they would take that money, and they would make sure that Josh Jacobs is happy, and then you're still going to have the extra money from the Chandler Jones contract restructure to go out and get a Kyle Van Noy, to go out and get a Marcus Peters. But you need to make sure Jacobs is happy. Let's go to ITK. What is our current cap space? I believe off the top of my head, as it stands right now, I'm going to go based off of what it was at the draft. It was $16 million after the Chandler Jones contract restructure. Now, they did sign Amari Burney, their 6th-round pick out of Florida, and he's going to make it something like $792,000, I believe is the number off the top of my head. So I'm going to go here and say you're somewhere around $14 to $15 million for the Raiders as it stands right now. Alexander, Mitch and Chugs, who are good free agents as backup quarterbacks to Garoppolo. You got your backup. You got Brian Hoyer, and you have Aiden O'Connell. Those are going to be the quarterbacks on this Raiders roster. You're not going to go out and you're not going to sign anybody else. Those are the backups to Jimmy G. Let's go to your girlfriend's brother. Could the Raiders sign Jaylon Smith? I would say no to this. I get the idea of Jaylon Smith was once a, New York Giant, and if you have the connection, linebackers in need, I get all of those reasons, but the Raiders want linebackers that can cover. Jaylon Smith cannot cover. His knees cannot hold up at this point of his career, and if you're going to run a 4-2-5, I don't want Jaylon Smith to be one of those linebackers. So to me, I'm respectfully going to pass. However, maybe I also don't have a brother. I don't know. Should the Raiders sign Jaylon Smith? Give me a Y for yes, or you could type your N for no. If you want to sign a linebacker, Rashaan Evans, there's other linebackers that you could go out. Jaylon Smith is just a big name, so I'm going to respectfully pass on that one. What up, Hector? What's up, Mitch? What about untagging Josh? You can't do that. Are you saying untag Josh and trade Renfrow, build a linebacker and corner? Yeah, you can't untag someone. So they can tag and trade them. Like, that's a possibility. I still think, though, trading Renfrow ends up going down. Otis, if Jimmy G gets injured, is our backup quarterback solid? Depends who you think it is. If it's Aiden O'Connell or if it's Brian Hoyer. If it's Brian Hoyer, Hoyer's not a top 40 quarterback. And I don't really think Aiden O'Connell right now is a top 40 quarterback. So does that answer your question? Rebel, last time I asked this before the draft, if the Raiders Super Bowl odds are 50-1, is it still the same or did it change after the draft? To be honest, I don't have the exact answers right now to that. I would imagine that after the draft, they might have stayed the same. They might have gone a little bit down for the simple fact of, yes, they went defense, but people outside of the Raiders didn't love the Tyree Wilson pick. Some people did, some people didn't. The AFC is also loaded, right? Like, when you talk about Super Bowl odds, it's not so much just the Raiders. It's the AFC is freaking loaded, man. I mean, there's 10 teams right now that are better than the Raiders in the AFC, and that's not a knock on the Raiders. It's just that's how stacked the AFC is. Anything can happen, though. If I missed your question on today's mailbag, you can always hit me up on social media, at MitchellRent365, Instagram as well. Don't be afraid to slide in the DMs. I try to answer as many questions as humanly possible, and I'm going to be going to Cancun from May 17th to May 24th, and I'm going to be posting a lot of stuff of what the hell I'm doing. So if you want to keep tabs on me, best place to do it, social media, you guys know where to find me.